Hey guys, welcome to Zagging 101. My name is Guy Danhoff, and we're bringing this to you by MOSHAPE right here in the Show Me State. Today we're going to talk about how to YouTube, and we're very excited because this is something that, again, you guys asked that you guys wanted to learn about. This session will be recorded and made available for you even after the broadcast. And with that, Lauren, why don't you go ahead and get started?
All right, so today we have 3 objectives for you guys. So what you will learn today is how to start a YouTube channel. 2, how to improve video production. And 3, what to do after you post a video. So my name is Lauren Krebs. I'm actually working as a marketing consultant with the Missouri Coordinated School Health Coalition and doing their digital marketing. And Guy?
Guys, basically, I know there's a lot of things there, but I actually work with MOSHAPE and Missouri Healthy Schools and even Shape America. A lot of my roles are kind of overlapped with being the director of digital media and promotions, and even as a consultant. Shape America, I actually am on their strategy meetings every 2 weeks with Joey Martelli, and I also specialize in live video. I have co-written a textbook that on chapter 7, like all these types of things we're covering today is actually in that book. And then lastly, I'm an assistant professor at Missouri Baptist, and I teach in the exercise science and the sport management majors. And the area I focus on is big time communication, social media, and marketing.
So you might be asking, where do I start with making a YouTube channel? So I need you guys to ask yourself this question, okay? Who is my audience? And you want to get very specific here. The answer is not everybody. You want to know your age group. You want to know what group you are exactly serving. 2, what problem does my YouTube channel solve? And people will not be able to follow you if you don't know where you are going. So make sure you guys, this is where you will know from start to finish where you are wanting to go. How is my channel different? So how is my channel different from the other 500 people that make cookies or different things like that? And lastly, why should individuals subscribe? So at the end, you'll always say a tagline, and this really is like your mission statement of why you are making these videos. So now we're going to kind of go into the content of the video. And we have this great slide that kind of gives you guys the 11 rookie mistakes. And hopefully Guy and I will help you make sure you do not make them. Number 1 is eye contact. And this is just making sure you're not looking at the little picture of yourself or somewhere else, but directly into the camera where it is recording.
Number 2, guys, is thumbnails. I'm going to show you guys an example of how a thumbnail can actually drive more traffic to your YouTube channel.
Number 3 is confusing YouTube titles. This makes sure you guys are just very specific. I know you want to get creative, but make sure it's very specific and correlates with the video that you are posting.
Basically, guys, number 4 is a rookie mistake is not being consistent in your postings. If you promise your audience you're going to have these videos or these replay videos, or you're going to have a series of videos, you have to be consistent on what it is that expectations you have set for your audience.
Yes. Okay. Number 5, weak intros. You guys get 7 seconds to catch the attention of these individuals that are looking at your YouTube. So make sure you get straight to the point. You're not waiting around. You don't have a 2-minute slot. You're going in and explaining what they're going to learn during your YouTube.
Number 6 is a distracting background. I'll give you an example. Lauren, if you'd be so kind, pivot your camera. Okay, guys, I don't think you want to have that background over her right shoulder in your content. In other words, be very mindful, because if you have things in the backdrop that are stealing your attention, you're lessening the effectiveness of your communication. Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome. Yeah. So that actually goes straight into our next one, which is bad AVL, which is audio, video, and lighting. And we're actually going to touch on this in the next slides.
Number 8 is low energy. I mean, how many times you guys know this from being teachers? Do you want to have low energy? Or could you imagine watching Baker Spot and Megan Baker and Christy started like this? Hey, where's Baker Spot? It doesn't work. I mean, you got to be dynamic in what you're doing, right? So energy matters. Just going to let you guys know that.
Number 9, tagging. This is actually going to be so important that we are going to do episode 3 on tagging, hashtags, and bit.ly. So stay tuned for next week because we are going to really dive into that piece.
Okay, number 10 is impatience, guys. Just because you have a new channel doesn't mean everyone knows you have it. And it does take a little time to go ahead and to grow your audience. So again, be patient with that. And the 11th one, guys, this is something that I've seen our profession so guilty of, and it's trim editing. I'm so blessed that we have someone like Mary Dreimeyer on our team, who's our manager of social media, and she's constantly paying attention that when we upload videos to YouTube, we want to make sure that the video is going to start where it's supposed to start, and not like where we have like 3 minutes of everyone's talking and then we start the content. No. We're going to trim that. And if you want to get, grow your audience, you got to pay attention to the trimming. You want to make sure it starts where you want it to start and it ends exactly where you want it to end.
So video content. So this is kind of where your video, these are the key elements that you want to go through when you're looking at your video. So the first one is strategic. Make sure you know why you're posting. Are you posting a trendy topic that you're wanting more viewers, or you want more engagement? So you're kind of doing something that your audience wants to hear.
And the second one, guys, is social listening. This was something that I've been saying for ever since January hit. And this is very important. In other words, like, for example, we just did a video yesterday. We did a MOSHAPE minute, a YouTube video, and it was related around basically reentry, because Indiana is putting on a great event next week, and everyone's talking about reentry. Well, they have a great event over 4 days with 3 speakers a day. Hashtag InShape 2020. And so we did a video with our executive director and with the executive director, Gary Lemke from Indiana, because we were social listening and we knew that it was good for us to get this message out. So we're constantly listening to the conversation that's at hand.
The next one is need analysis. And guys, this is an amazing piece. You just ask your audience what you want. And Zagging 101 is actually a direct correlation of that. Guy and Joey did a webinar on the best practices in social media a bit ago, and they did a poll, and these topics are the ones that you guys wanted to hear. So this is actually a great example of how needs analysis works.
The next one, guys, is get creative. I can just tell you this. The president of our association, Dr. Dochev, he says that we should be advocating every day. I couldn't agree more. But the question is, how are we going to track them? We have to be creative on how we're going to continue to grow, our memberships, our reach, our ability to build engagement. And that's why it's so important that we do this.
And last is experiment. You guys have to step out of your comfort zone, think, and when everybody else is doing the zig,
guys, you have to be doing the zag. And I know, and Dr. Dochev will laugh, we all laugh about it now. It turned out to be pretty brilliant. But guys, we had this thing called Mo Tattoo for Sparks back in February. Guys, we actually shot video of a half hour of Jamie getting a tattoo. And you'd think, why would we be shooting any video in a tattoo parlor? However, it was so direct on to Health Moves Minds and the commitment that he was making to it, that it really rallied everyone together, and it happened to be the 3rd most viewed content that MOSHAPE has ever produced. Talk about experimenting. Yeah, that's a little out of the box. So anyways, feel free to experiment, because you guys see us pretty much doing that like on a monthly basis when we use our YouTube videos. So as we look at the content format, and this is the one area that we all know very well, because most of us on this training right now are all teachers. The first one is, content format. A simple one is detailed tutorial videos, like what we're making, or like professional development, which everyone knows about those videos. The next one is teaching viewers new skills or activities. A great example of that is SpakerSpot. They're constantly showing some skills, or they're constantly showing different activities that you can do in terms of recess, or that you can, just do to have fun. And that's one of the great things about the content format. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. And now, Lauren, talk about how the follow along format's also effective.
Yeah, so if you guys have been watching our Tasty Tuesday, that's a great example. So the follow along format, you guys want to make sure that you are keeping it very simple, explaining what you're doing, and so the audience can actually just be doing it with you. So if you're cooking or different things like that, like Lisa does each week, that's a perfect time to do that. Last is like vlogs or entertainment. So this is maybe a piece that you're not teaching someone a new skill, Just make sure that you still add value and that there's a learning value within that piece of video.
All right, this one's huge, guys. How to effectively post. Again, it has to start with attention-grabbing headlines. When you do that, you're going to find that it's more shareable. Then you're also going to make people want to click. That is why we are very intentional about anytime we do attention-grabbing headlines, for our videos. And then, of course, you can also use the tutorial format, which is like doing a series or a sequence. That also works pretty good as well. Now, on the right side, this is actually a big deal. We've experimented with this, and that is, if you guys have ever done a YouTube video, you can see on the left where it says simple, it gives you 3 boxes. The only problem with the 3 boxes is it forces you to have to pick 1, 2, or 3. And a lot of times you might not have, the best faces or the best look, and it can really detract from people being attracted to your video. Therefore, what we would say moving forward is go to a customized image. For example, what you see on the lower right, that actually is from a coaches show that I do in the fall with our head coach. I host the coaches show, and that's what our people picked out after a win. And you can see that it's a great caption of that, and they put that right on top of the actual start of the video. Now, if you guys want to see the master suit of this, in my opinion, I'm going to show you guys an example of Spaker Spot just from the last 5 weeks. So you can see right here, this is Spaker Spot, Spaker Summer Camp. You can see, what audience that they're speaking to. This is what's known by YouTubers. That's why I think it's so funny, Megan Baker calling her a YouTube mom. But this is the kind of content, this is the way we package it, because you guys got to remember something. YouTube views that are all-time high, kids are dominating those views, and 30% of them, people want to know, do it yourself. That's why that space is so popular. Also, they want to know about self-improvement, again, and even physical activity. And this is a great way, and we'll have Megan on and Christy on in just a second. They're going to speak to the impact of when they started shifting from the 3-box options to the custom thumbnails.
So now we're going to go into the production piece of the video. So here we go again, the ABL audio. You guys make sure that you don't have that background noise that will be very distracting, and make sure they can hear you very clearly. And actually, Guy has them send him their run-throughs each week to make sure that he's hitting these 3 different areas. The next one is video, and Guy's actually going to touch on this in a second. Lighting. So let's make sure there's no shadow, no distracting backgrounds, those kind of things. Guy, you want to take the video piece?
Yeah, guys, when you think about video, like if you're going to shoot it off your iPhone, which is a very common and effective, cost-effective way to do it, your phone will default at 1080 HD at 30 frames per second. There's nothing wrong with it. It's actually a good way to do it. However, if you want to get a little more creative, depending on, again, what you want to do, I actually like using the 4K at 24 frames per second. The reason being is if I'm doing something like it's more of a documentary, it might be, an interview, a specific interview. There's just different reasons why I want to use that format, because it gives a cinematic feel. And believe it or not, how you guys choose what resolution you're going to use and even the frames per second all matter. So again, you guys do have options off your iPhones or your smartphones that you have options. There's the default there, but there are some cases where you might want to use any one of those. I've actually used all of them depending on the application.
Okay, so now your video is posted. So now what do we do?
Well, guys, here it is. Really simple. These are 2 important statistics. This is, to me, the #1 reason why you should have a YouTube channel, because it is the 2nd most trafficked search engine in the world after Google. So when people are typing in search words, like for example, if you typed in MOSHAPE, I can promise you all our YouTube videos will show up. If you use the hashtag zagging101, we come up instantly in those searches. And why? Because we've tagged them, and this is a great way to get more extension out of your content. The problem is most people are understanding the value of why YouTube gives you another entry into what you're doing in your state. And then this is the big one. This was just published by YouTube. The average watch time is 11 minutes and 24 seconds. I can tell you this, there is a strong correlation between the amount of views you get when you get your videos at that number or less. And I'm going to show you that in the analytics in just a second. I know the gender part isn't as big of a deal, but these first two are huge. So if, for example, here's a best practice. If I were making video content in the future, I would want to, instead of making one 30-minute video, I would make 3 10-minute videos, because we know that you can get 3, 4, 5 times the views. I know that because we run all the analytics at MOSHAPE. I can share that with you as I share with our executive committee on a regular basis, these kind of statistics, because we know that we're using the data to drive our decisions. Okay, here are the analytics, guys. On the left, this is the Bitly app. Again, we'll go into a deep dive next week, but you can see there, it's going to show you in real time. And we put a Bitly link on every single YouTube piece of content we put out. We can see those results. And then if you look at the call out and you look at the middle of the screen, guys, now you can see a close up, and you can see that you can click at the very top, the top 10, it will give you the rank order. And you can see right now, trending #1 for us was actually last week's Zagging 101 episode on teaching people how to live stream. As I want to thank those of you guys who were on last week or watched the replays, because again, I'm not making this up. This is the analytics. This tells us that this format's working. It was an incredible response. We're hoping to have the same again, obviously, for what we're doing today. So again, the analytics play a big part of seeing if what you're doing, if you're getting the reach, are you getting people tuning into what you're doing?
So I remember guys saying that last week, if they took one key takeaway from the whole Zagging 101 episode 1, it was this right here: repurposing content. Repurpose your best video content, and it can actually increase your views 2 times, 3 times, and even 4 times. So with that being said, these are so Twitter and Facebook are different platforms that you can take your YouTube video and post them on there through different ways of the Bitly link and different things like that. Now, podcasts, I have to emphasize this piece here because this is opening up a whole new audience for individuals that are posting to YouTube, because now you can either, all those physical educators out there know, like during their walks, they can be listening to these podcasts that you guys are making. And I just think that is so cool. And then also, if you have it on your website, you can use your YouTube videos there. And then the teaser, and Guy, you must take this one.
Yeah, I will, but I want to camp on the podcast because I know Gary Lemke's on the line. Gary, this one's for you. Actually, Gary's the one who told us about what they're doing in Indiana's event next week. And he's the one that told me, because they had no slides that they're using in the presentations. They're actually going to be making podcasts again for those people who want to consume that content. There's no need to see the video if they're just listening to it, if there's no slides. Gary, I just want to say fantastic job making that pivot and adding the podcast, because now you've opened up more consumption to your content from your YouTube content. So that was a great pivot. All right, next slide on the teaser. All right, guys, this is awesome. So imagine you talk about a teaser. All right, so guys, imagine if those first 4 words at the bottom weren't on there. Spider-Man off the wall. Imagine that wasn't on there. So I was consulting. This is a chiropractor, comes into our university, works with our athletes. We did a little segment to help. I was helping him out to be a subject for him. And his original post was chiropractic adjustment on a 6'6", dying former All-American football player. At that time, he only had like 450 views. Again, social listening. I discovered that Spider-Man, that was a #5 worldwide trending hashtag. And he said what he does is a Spider-Man technique for me. And he kind of scales the wall a little bit to get the leverage to push down on me. And I said, what did you call that? He goes, Spider-Man. I go, let me check something. We put that title in, Spider-Man off the wall. That's all I did was add it. This is repurposing. Guys, you can see there at the bottom left, it blew up to almost 33,000 views. So if you want to talk about why attention-grabbing headlines are so important, I don't know about you, but do you rather have 450 views, or would you like to have nearly 33,000 views? Guys, all it took was 4 words when we repurposed that content. And why? Because I took the time to social listen and find out that Spider-Man happened to be a top 5 world trending, because one of the new Spider-Mans just came out. Okay, guys, this is in case you missed it. This is more repurposing. What I want to show you guys on the left, this is actually just from yesterday. You guys can see a great example of how you can repurpose, like the video we did on the special report. Now, if you guys look, You can see right here, there's that bit.ly link and there's the little icon for it, but you guys don't see any video. Guys, what we have found that this doesn't get clicked on nowhere near as much as if you have a piece of video with it. So with this episode here, what we were able to do is for Speaker Spot, we used a teaser video to tee up the full YouTube right here. And then of course, this was from the session that we did with Joey and Tom Lowry when we did it on social media. You can see how you can embed your PowerPoint slide and watch. And what I should have done, this is a slight mistake, I put the slides here instead of the video, which would have garnered more views. However, it was fine. I fixed it the next day when I repurposed. But this is a very important part of the process. You keep repurposing with the acronym ICYMI, which is in case you missed it.
So I want to invite our special guests to, we're going to invite Christy Spears and Megan Baker. They actually work with the Belton School District in Kansas City. Christy works with elementary and Megan works with the secondary, and they took the initiative right when COVID hit to start a YouTube channel to serve their students while they couldn't be there with them. And I just want to ask you guys if you could give some key insights on what you would give them for the YouTube.
Yeah, so Megan Baker, I have over 10 years experience as a secondary teacher, and I just want to take it as a teacher perspective for just a second. And if you don't have it all figured out on your niche, I think that's okay. I think you just do it anyway, because my bottom line is students want to see a familiar face. So anything you're doing where they can relate and see that familiar face, I think is a start, and then you can just grow from there. And that's really what Christy and I started out doing, is we wanted to be the familiar face for our students, and then it grew from there. Within the settings of YouTube, I love it because it plays very nicely. So in my building, we use Canvas. And then at the elementary level, they use Google Classroom. And YouTube plays very nicely with both platforms. And you can make your videos public, you can make them private, and you can have them unlisted. So it plays, you have different settings that you can use. If you don't want everybody to access it, you have control over that. Now, the two game changers for us was the thumbnails and repurposing. So when we started, we just posted our video and was like, people will just love us because that's how it will happen. And the thumbnails have really been a game changer. It's our promotion. It's a teaser. We use Canva to do ours, and the majority of them are screenshots from our video, and you can get higher tech in it where you're taking pictures and you're using specific cameras and different things. But we use Canva to make our thumbnails, and it's very user friendly. If I can do it, like any teacher can do it. It was really, really easy. And then repurposing. I mean, just seeing the strategic and timely way of repurposing has just been one of those mind-blowing things and strategies that we've learned along the way to do that. Yeah, the Mother's Day one just analytically blew my mind about how well repurposing is, and using multiple platforms, which we're still growing our own brand onto those platforms. So I would say go for it and enjoy it and grow from there.
Thank you, Megan.
I also have to speak on behalf of that. Sorry. I just want to say that just don't be afraid to do it. Just kind of like the whole, the quote of just do it. Don't be afraid to go out and just step out of your comfort zone. Megan and I, we did this without any hesitation, and we just did this for fun. And then it took off on its own without, we didn't even expect any of it. So I just have to say, just go for it and don't be afraid to do it. Even if you start with 5 followers, you'll eventually get more, and you'll eventually get your views and all of that. So like what Lauren has said, it goes off of your following and who you want to show your content to. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Christy and Megan. Well, guys, we just wanted, this is going to be kind of the official stopping point. However, the Spaker gals will remain live on, as well as myself and Lauren. So if you want to leave, that's fine. But if you want to ask questions, we're going to open up all the lines, and this is going to be our time to share. But just want to, if you guys could do this right now before you leave, if you could type in the chat box your top takeaway from today. We're hoping you've learned something that maybe you've never heard before, or maybe you heard it in a different way where it connected and clicked with you. We would love to hear from you on what you took away from this session that I know that was highly anticipated based on the feedback that we got from the session we did in conjunction with Shape America, with doing this session specifically. So if you guys could use the chat, put your key takeaways in, that would be great. Next week at the same time, we're going to be going on a deep dive on Bitly. We're also going to be looking at the importance of tagging and, of course, hashtags. There's a whole strategy behind all of it. And I know the Spaker gals just spoke to that because these are the techniques and tactics that we use to do this. And then lastly, we'll be joined by one of our Health Moves Minds committee members, Anna Forsalito, and she's going to be talking about the importance of using all three of these because this has been a big part of our success as we've blown up the Health Moves Minds in our state. So guys, there's our, if you want to get in touch with us, the easiest way, I say this all the time, the easiest way is just find me on Twitter, honestly. Just send me a direct message. That's how Gary Lemke and I connected just 2 days ago, just that fast. So what I'm going to do, guys, now is stop the recording, say thank you guys for attending, and then we can open up for a live Q&A.